A woman is a mysterious being whose history is riddled with millennia of changes, contradictions, and searches. Myths, legends, ideals are associated with its appearance. At the same time, stereotypes, suppression, and distortion. All this makes up a complex mosaic portrait which still raises questions and causes controversy. Over the centuries, the role of the woman in society has undergone various transformations. She rose to the highest heights as a symbol of the motherhood, beauty, wisdom. But at the same time, she found herself shackled by stereotypes, discrimination, and subordination. Still, who is the woman? Who has she been throughout history? What is the concept of the woman in patriarchal society? Her place through the prism of the philosophy, sociology, and history. Simone de Beauvoir answers all these questions in the book The Second Sex, and in her analysis, a woman is exposed to a system of systematic oppression and discrimination. Throughout the history of mankind, a woman has not been considered as a separate individual person with desires, goals, and opinions. Beauvoir shows that the women are often viewed in the context of the relationship with men as daughters, spouses, mothers. They are judged not by their individual qualities, but their ability to meet the standards of femininity. The patriarchal system creates conditions in which a woman is deprived of her individuality, her identity, her right to her own opinion and choices. A woman should not be limited to the role of the mother, wife, or housewife, but should have the right to education, professional development, and participation in public life.
In 1840, at the World Anti-Slavery Conference in London, 6 US women, including Elizabeth Stanton, were rejected as official delegates because of their gender. This was the impetus for the creation of the first organization advocating gender equality. In 1848, Elizabeth Stanton wrote the Declaration of Sentiments based on the Declaration of Independence, which led to the emergence of the first gender equality organization in America.
During the first wave of feminism, women faced a number of serious problems and inequalities, including first, limited rights. Women did not have full access to education, employment, and suit rights. Many laws and customs deprived them of the opportunity to take an active part in public and political life. Second, labor restriction. Women faced discrimination in the labor market. They received low wages for doing the same work as men and were often limited to access only to unskilled or low-paid positions. Lack of voting rights. Women were deprived of the right to vote and participate in political process. This limits their ability to influence decisions and legalization, affecting their own rights and interests.
The first wave of feminism is considered the most successful, as it started goals such as access to education and suffrage were achieved. This wave of feminism paved the way for legal changes such as women being given the rights of control their own earrings in France in 20th centuries, and women gaining the right vote in various countries such as Russia and the UK and the US at the late 90th and early 20th centuries. This period also became a time of acting protest against social discrimination against women and opened the door for subsequent waves of feminism, including the rights for greater rights and equality in various aspects of life.
The second wave begins with Simone de Beauvoir with her work The Second Sex. In The Second Sex, Simone de Beauvoir delves into the gender, identity, and social constructs through the lens of existentialist philosophy. Published in 1949, it remains a seminal work in feminist literature, challenging traditional notions of womanhood and the otherness imposed upon women by patriarchal societies. De Beauvoir's critique of patriarchy unveils the systematic oppression of women, highlighting how social norms gender inequality. She argues that women are relegated to the status of the other, defined in relation to men, denying them agency and subjectivity. Through existentialist principles, she emphasized the importance of individual freedom and self-definition, arguing women to transcend imposed roles and forge their own identities. Her exploration of the social construction of gender reveals how norms and expectations shape women's experience, limiting their autonomy and potential. By dissecting myths and stereotypes surrounding femininity, she exposed the arbitrary nature of gender roles, advocating for dismantling of oppressive structures. Examples such as a gender pay gap, rights and cultural representation in media illustrates the enduring relevance of de Beauvoir ideas. De Beauvoir philosophy promotes reflection on power dynamics, privilege by recognizing the interconnectedness of gender with the race, class, and sexuality. Viewers can deepen their understanding of the systematic injustice and work towards inclusive solution. Her emphasis on individual freedom encourage viewers to question social expectations and embrace self-determination. By integrating their own beliefs and behaviors, viewers can shift towards authentic existence and solidarity with the marginalized voices.
Do you think the feminism movement is important in our time?
Yeah, absolutely. The feminist movement remains crucial in our time because it's advocating for gender equality and challenging societal norms and also systems that perpetuate discrimination. And I can add that ensuring that everyone, regardless of gender, has equal rights and opportunities.
Do you think women are discriminated against nowadays?
Yep, I think so because some folks in our country still have conservative views on relationship between women and men. So I think so.
21st century, in a world where the word equality sounds so often, however, its reality remains far from ideal. Even today, in the 21st century, women continue to face inequality and discrimination. Our story is the story of the struggle for our rights, for our place in the sun, for our freedom. Previously, women faced open discriminatory legislation and social restrictions that prevented them from realizing their potential, but today, although many of these barriers have been overcome, the problems of feminism are often expressed in more subtle and hidden forms. Unequal remuneration for work, a glass ceiling in career growth, lack of representation of women in leadership positions, as well as problems of family violence, sexism, and the penetration of the stereotypes about the role of the woman in the society continue to be relevant. Society standards and Simon's statements. We should also not forget about the stereotyped idea of what the ideal woman should be, which Simone de Beauvoir spoke about. The view, often shaped by cultural norms, advertising, and the media, often prescribes a woman to be feminine, sensitive, obedient, and adapt to society expectations and the standard models of the beauty. Simone de Beauvoir raised many questions about the status and the role of women in society, including the problem of the social model of woman. She criticized traditional ideas of what an ideal woman should be like and discussed the impact of these stereotypes on women's life. Beauvoir points out that existing social models and expectation of restrict women's freedom and expose them to pressure from society. She notes that the stereotypes can lead to a negative perception of your body, psychological disorders. Thus, Simone de Beauvoir's ideas about the social model of women perfectly correlate with the challenges that feminism poses in the 21st century. She supports the liberation of women from stereotypes and discrimination, which reflects the main goals of the modern feminist movement. Today's feminism has become more inclusive, taking into account the diversity of experiences and needs of women of different races, ethnic groups, social class, and individual identities. This makes it possible to better understand and solve the problems that all women face, regardless of their context and etc. Feminist movements increasingly include concepts of intersectionality, recognizing the intersection of various forms of discrimination and fighting for equal rights for all women regardless of their identity. In addition, feminism is becoming more global, supporting women in various countries and cultural in their struggle for rights and freedoms.